Michael Douglas has spent more than 50 years building one of the most respected careers in Hollywood. He has won 2 Academy Awards, several Golden Globe Awards, and earned a reputation for bringing powerful, unforgettable characters to the screen. Whether working behind the camera as a producer or standing in front of it as an actor, he helped create films that left a lasting mark on movie history. Audiences admired his confidence, intelligence, and ability to play complex men who are never simply heroes or villains. Yet behind the success, awards, and worldwide fame was a life shaped by painful struggles that most people never fully understood. While millions saw a man living the Hollywood dream, Michael Douglas was quietly facing challenges that tested every part of his life. Serious illness, family heartbreak, personal loss, and years spent trying to prove himself all became part of a journey far more difficult than anyone could have imagined. His greatest victories were not always the ones celebrated on stage, but the ones fought away from cameras, in hospitals, family homes, and private moments that never made headlines. If you have ever admired Michael Douglas or enjoyed one of his films, take a moment to support this video because his real story is every bit as remarkable as the characters he played on screen. It is a story of determination, resilience, and the price that sometimes comes with extraordinary success. Michael Kirk Douglas was born on September 25, 1944, in New Brunswick, New Jersey. From the beginning, he carried one of the most recognizable names in Hollywood. His father, Kirk Douglas, had already begun establishing himself as one of the biggest stars in the film industry. To the world, Kirk was a larger-than-life actor known for his strength, determination, and unforgettable performances. But to young Michael, he was simply a father who was often away working. When Michael was only 6 years old, his parents separated, changing the course of his childhood forever. After the divorce, he lived primarily with his mother, actress Diana Dill, while his father continued building his legendary career. Although Michael admired his father deeply, their time together became limited, leaving him with a quiet desire for attention and approval that stayed with him for many years. Growing up in Connecticut, Michael attended boarding schools where he struggled to find his place. He was not considered an outstanding student, and traditional classroom life failed to inspire him. Deep inside, however, he was beginning to develop an interest in acting. When he finally shared that dream, he was surprised by his father's reaction. Rather than encouraging him, Kirk Douglas warned him about the harsh realities of Hollywood. Having fought his own way from poverty to fame, Kirk understood how difficult the business could be and hoped his son would choose a more secure future. Although his father believed he was offering practical advice, Michael felt disappointed. More than anything, he wanted to prove that he could succeed on his own, not simply because of his family name. That desire became one of the driving forces behind his life. He enrolled at the University of California, Santa Barbara, where everything slowly began to change. Surrounded by new people and new opportunities, Michael realized that acting was not just a passing interest, but something he truly loved. His instructors recognized his talent, and for the first time he felt seen as an individual rather than simply the son of a famous movie star. After graduating in 1968, he entered the entertainment industry, prepared to work hard for every opportunity. Success did not arrive overnight. Like many young actors, he accepted small television and film roles while learning the demands of the profession. His first leading film role earned positive attention, but it was not enough to establish him as a major Hollywood star. Critics and audiences continued comparing him to his father, making it difficult for him to build his own identity. Even as he gained experience, many people still saw him mainly through the lens of Kirk Douglas's remarkable legacy. Everything began changing in 1972 when Michael joined the television series The Streets of San Francisco. Playing Inspector Steve Keller alongside veteran actor Carl Malden, he spent several years working long hours on one of America's most popular crime dramas. The show introduced him to millions of viewers and taught him lessons that would shape the rest of his career. He learned that lasting success was not built on occasional moments of brilliance, but on consistency discipline, and showing up every single day ready to perform. Those years gave him confidence and experience, but they also prepared him for an opportunity that would transform his life forever. Instead of waiting for someone else to create the perfect project, Michael decided to take control behind the scenes. That decision would eventually lead him toward one of the greatest achievements in Hollywood history and finally allow him to step out of his father's enormous shadow. Michael Douglas had already earned respect through television, but he wanted to prove he could accomplish something much bigger. The opportunity arrived through a project that had already frustrated his father for years. Kirk Douglas had purchased the rights to the novel One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and dreamed of bringing it to the big screen. Despite his determination, studio after studio rejected the idea, believing the story was too risky and too different from what audiences wanted. Eventually, the project stalled, and it seemed as though it would never be made. Michael believed otherwise. Even though he was still early in his career and had very little experience producing major films, he saw incredible potential in the story. He convinced his father to let him take over the project and promised to do everything possible to make it happen. It was a bold decision that carried enormous pressure. If the film failed, it could damage both his reputation and his relationship with his father. But Michael refused to give up. He spent years searching for financial support, meeting with producers, and working through countless obstacles before finally finding people who shared his vision. Together they assembled a talented team led by director Milik Forman, whose unique approach perfectly matched the emotional power of the story. Filming took place in a real mental hospital, giving the movie an authentic atmosphere that audiences had rarely experienced before. One of the most difficult moments came when Michael decided the lead role would go to Jack Nicholson instead of his father. Kirk Douglas had played the character on stage for years and had always hoped to portray him in the film version as well. Understandably, he felt deeply hurt by the decision. It created tension between father and son, and for a time, their relationship became strained. Michael knew the choice would be painful, but he believed it was necessary to make the strongest film possible. When One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was finally released in 1975, it became an extraordinary success. Critics praised its performances, direction, and emotional impact, while audiences connected with its powerful message. At the Academy Awards, the film achieved something incredibly rare by winning the 5 major Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Adapted Screenplay. As one of the producers, Michael Douglas walked onto the Oscar stage to accept the award, marking a defining moment in his career. For the first time, he was no longer simply known as Kirk Douglas's son. He had established himself as a major force in Hollywood through his own work. Over time, the disagreement between father and son slowly faded, replaced by mutual respect and pride. Michael had proven that taking risks could lead to extraordinary rewards. After that breakthrough, his acting career accelerated rapidly. In 1984, he starred in Romancing the Stone, a fun adventure film that became a huge international hit. Audiences loved his charm, confidence, and natural chemistry with his co-stars. The success confirmed that he was capable of carrying major films as a leading man, not just working behind the scenes. A sequel followed, and his popularity continued growing. Yet the role that would define an entire generation arrived only a few years later. In 1987, director Oliver Stone cast Michael Douglas as Gordon Gekko of Wall Street. Interestingly, Michael had not been the studio's first choice, and several other actors had been considered before him. Determined to prove himself, he threw everything into the performance. Gordon Gekko was ambitious, intelligent, ruthless, and completely unforgettable. His famous declaration that greed is good became one of the most quoted lines in movie history, symbolizing an era of financial ambition and corporate power. Michael's performance earned widespread praise and won him the Academy Award for Best Actor. Overnight, he became one of Hollywood's highest-paid stars, with major studios eager to cast him in leading roles. Films like Fatal Attraction and Basic Instinct became worldwide successes, earning hundreds of millions of dollars and making Michael Douglas one of the biggest names in entertainment. To the public, everything appeared perfect. Awards continued arriving. Blockbuster films filled theaters, and his reputation reached incredible heights. Yet behind the scenes, his personal life was becoming increasingly difficult. His demanding career required constant travel, endless filming schedules, and long periods away from home.